again for being here. Like I
Oh, no,
said,
of course, Steph. Thank you for all those lovely things you said about me.
oh,
I
of
think
course.
anybody here who doesn't know me was probably expecting something awesome, and now they're stuck with me. So, uh, what are you gonna do?
You are the something awesome though. Nobody was crossing their fingers hoping that you wouldn't figure stuff out. Or maybe they were. Maybe they went in there and sabotaged your computer themselves.
Maybe who would do that? I wonder. No.
But yeah, thank you so much. I'm excited to just talk to you about, like I said, you know what this is about. But how you ended up here. I found you again in November of 2020. But I mean, your story as far as getting to Twitch obviously goes way beyond that, further back. So just talk a little bit about, who were you, who is Iznib before you even started streaming, and what really got you thinking like, I think I want to do that. And then why? Why did you want to do that?
Excellent question, Steph. And I'm not sure if I have a satisfactory answer for you, but I'll endeavour to do my best. Uh, God, I don't. It wasn't. There must have been a specific moment where I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this." Because I remember, in the summer of 2020, I spent like a good like 3 months like researching everything before I did actually start my first stream. I was like super nervous about it. Um, I don't. Once I was in it, I don't. It's hard. I can't think back to what the that exact moment was. I suppose taking it yeah back a little bit further. Um, I remember specifically like a few years before that, like saying to my boss at work, like, "Yeah, I should be a streamer," and he was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Yeah," I was like, kind of already thinking about it at that point. I was like, "Yeah," because to be successful, whatever that is, or at least be good at it, I'd already like thought about it. I was like, "Oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do that," and this without any research. Uh, and I guess I just didn't really do anything about it. And I suppose even further back than that, I suppose I looked at maybe not Twitch streamers, but like various YouTubers, and I was kind of like doing like video gaming content, and I was like, oh, that's really amazing what they're doing. Not only is it like cool uh, and entertaining, but like the idea that somebody could do that and make a living off of it, that was like wild to me. I was like, how could I do that? And then I guess I just dismissed it. But yeah, I think it was at the beginning of 2020 for various reasons, which are probably outside of the bounds of this conversation. I walked out of my current job at the time.
Hmm.
I was just it got to a point where I was just like, I don't have another job lined up. I don't have anything, but I'm gonna leave right now. It wasn't like I
Hmm.
planned the day before. I just walked out one day.
Yeah.
Um, and then I was like, oh, I suppose I better look for another job. Uh, and I think over here in the UK at least, I think it was like 2 weeks later we went into our first national lockdown for the pandemic. So I was like, oh well, if there's ever a time to walk out of a job, I guess it's now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Right.
yeah, it wasn't just absolute coincidence. But regardless, I did look around for a couple other jobs. And there wasn't much around at the time. Mostly because of the pandemic. Like I even applied for a place where they were taking people on. It's basically the local factory in this town. Because I've always been a minimum wage worker, and it's not fun, but I'll do it. It's not an issue. Um, and I'd applied for a job, and then they got back to say, "Oh, we're never hiring anyone ever again because of the pandemic." I was like,
Oh,
"Well,
that seems pretty permanent.
yeah." I was like, "That's not going to last, is it? What kind of never again? You advertise jobs, and I've applied for it. Whatever." So I don't know. I felt in a way that almost, it sounds weird, but I believe on some level in I don't like the word fate. I don't really like that because that
Hmm.
suggests that you don't have control over your own life.
Hmm.
But I do feel that there's some force within the universe that is conspiring to make things happen.
Hmm.
maybe not conspire. Maybe that sounds too insidious, but
Yeah,
you know,
scheming.
so like what? Yeah, yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know if other people's beliefs on this in our community. That could be a whole conversation in itself. But
Yeah.
I felt like, for example, in a situation like that, where I've purposely walked out of a job and there's suddenly a pandemic going on, and then I'm applying for a new job, and then they say we don't want you. I'm not like upset about that. I'm like, on some level, for whatever reason, I'm not supposed to go and do that job at this time. It's not.
Mhm.
It's not like random coincidence.
Yeah.
So I wasn't too worried about it, and I was just kind of, I kind of put it out of my mind, and I just basically just played video games for like 2 or 3 months and didn't really do anything.
I mean, the
And then I
dream,
guess I got to
honestly.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Then I don't know. I got to that point that I mentioned it a minute ago. I don't quite remember, but something clicked in me, and I was like, I I have to do something, and the idea of doing the streaming thing just crept in. And initially, I think I was kind of more wanting to do like YouTube videos,
Mhm.
and maybe, and so I started doing research, like how to record YouTube videos, how do you make them good, how do you do this, how do you do that, and then I guess I watched a lot of videos on how to build an audience, how to be successful as a
Mhm.
streamer, whatever success equates to. Um, and a lot of them were saying like, you need to do YouTube and you need to stream, uh, whether that's on YouTube or Twitch or elsewhere. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'm going to need to do the streaming thing as well as the YouTube. I've got to do both. Um, and as the research, went on and on, it kind of like I realized that from my understanding, from what would probably work better for me, I felt that maybe it should be the other way around. I should focus on the Twitch streaming, and that I felt maybe that's more to my skill set
Mhm.
than the YouTube side of things.
Because there is a
Um,
difference, absolutely.
oh my god, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm probably, I don't know how you feel about this, Steph, or anybody else in chat who's here as a streamer, but I'm definitely feel very comfortable live streaming. Want to do it as much as I possibly can.
Mhm.
Time and energy allowing. And I'm not the most technically minded, but I'm also not an idiot. I can find my way around most like, software and
Mhm.
stuff. And I get the basic gist of video editing, but it's oh so boring to me. There's no interest there. I can't.
Mm.
I'm not. I'm very enthusiastic and hardworking when it comes to things I've got
Uh-huh.
an interest in. But if it's something that I do not care about and it feels like drudgery,
Yeah.
I'm very. It's one thing turning up to a 9 to 5 job you hate. You're on a schedule and you've got expectations, but when you do, it's on your own
When
time.
it's
I
when
can't.
you're your own boss, when it's your hobbies and
Ooh,
things like that.
yes,
Exactly.
Steph. I
Yeah.
can't make myself get good at video editing.
Mhm.
Uh, and I've seen others content creators, for lack of a better word, who are the complete opposite. I've seen guys who put out very, very professionally made YouTube videos that I've used myself and referred to,
Mhm.
getting like tens of thousands of views. And then I've seen snippets of them live streaming, and they seem like really uncomfortable being live. Like they don't know how to juggle like a live audience. And
Mhm.
I'm like, when I've seen that, it's dawned on me. It's like, oh, it's not that those guys are better than me. It's just they're different. They've got a
It's a
different skill
different
set.
skill set, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly, Steph. So then, after I did all my research, and I kind of realised that, and I did a bit of practice with the YouTube. I played through like 90% of one of my favourite games. Actually, I played a couple of games. One of my favourite games, JRPGs, is a PS1 game called Grandia. Anybody who knows me and my channel, you might know, come, power of the universe, Dragon King Slice. That's what that game
The
is taken
famous
from.
Dragon King slice.
That it's just fluke, Steph. It's just because that was in my psyche as I started my Twitch stream. I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I wanna use that." So I kind of just did a let's play of that, which is, for YouTube. It's kind of practice to, like, talking to a camera, you
Mhm.
know, when essentially there's nobody else there. you know, because sometimes you have to do that on stream. There
Mhm.
might not be anybody there. You still gotta keep a conversation going
Yeah,
with yourself, which is interesting.
it
Thankfully, you
is.
and I are quite lucky, Steph, that we know loads of people in the community, and we
Mhm.
do anytime we go live, there's gonna be at least a few people
Yeah,
there.
we definitely never wanna take that
And
for granted because I
no,
mean,
absolutely.
remember those early days of I mean, the first game you streamed, right? There's just crickets and you have it's difficult because you do still have to talk on the off chance someone does come in, you know,
Mm,
you're live. It's not like you can pause it and wait. It's, you know, whether someone's there or not, you gotta give them something.
absolutely, Steph, and
Mhm.
I'm glad you agree with that. There's maybe not so much in our community and the people we know, but I've definitely seen other smaller streamers who maybe they haven't done the same research or don't have the same instinctual knowledge regarding that. And you just go in, they don't have any viewers, and they're silent, and they're clearly what they're outputting on their stream um, varies if there's somebody there or not. Yes, of course, if I've got Cage or Smarts in my chat and they're saying something, I'm going to respond to what they're saying. But in terms of just talking about the game or whatever you're doing, that has to not be any different. Has to not change whether you've got 0 viewers or 1,000,000 viewers. It doesn't. It should that should not differ. Um, so I guess maybe those streamers, they'll learn.
Mhm.
That's the thing about Twitch, isn't it? Everyone's different, as you alluded to at the beginning of the stream there, Steph. And some people are different skill sets and different knowledge and different ability to pick up on things and learn things.
Mhm.
So I'm sure they'll be fine. But so I did that as a little run through, and I also played a bit of Brutal Doom as well, which I'm a fan of,
Yes,
and just
yes.
recorded those as YouTube videos, and then uploaded them and just kind of did the bare bones kind of editing on them.
Mhm.
Um, and then and they didn't really get any views, and I don't know that I was necessarily expecting to get any views, but part of me, I guess, I felt was on the basis of there's so many people on YouTube, there's so much content on YouTube. Someone somewhere out there is bound to stumble
Just
across it
stumble
and
upon, just click it or be led into it from another video,
or
something.
something. But obviously, I was underestimating two things: how much content there is on YouTube,
Mhm.
and you know potential desire. Like someone's actually got you looking for that, and then you're competing with the other people who are doing the same thing.
Mhm.
So if yours is no better, or maybe if not as good as somebody else's, then nobody's going to watch it, are they? Even if they find it. That's the other problem with YouTube. We've got friends who I know have made superb YouTube videos recently, like
Mhm.
just one-offs, just as kind of maybe they're practicing or flexing their skills, trying to put something out there, and maybe they've not got any views, and it's not the quality of the video; it's just you're fighting that YouTube algorithm.
Mhm.
It's like
Yeah, it's a real
so that
thing.
that kind of puts me off a little bit, Steph, to be honest. And that's the one thing about live streaming is you're there, you turn up, you do your thing, and then the people who are there got the enjoyment out of it. Whereas if you say you spend 5, 6 hours creating a decent 15-minute YouTube video from scratch, and you're very happy with the result, and then nobody ever sees it, I would feel like I've just wasted 5 or 6 hours.
Mm.
Whereas I can do a 5 or 6 hour stream to 2 people, and if they were there and they enjoyed it, that doesn't feel like a waste of my time.
Mhm.
Um, so Is that's part of it. But
Yeah.
sorry, I've gone a little bit off on a tangent here, Steph. So backing up slightly, so I did those I did those let's plays for YouTube, and I was like, I guess that's when I realised, okay, maybe make this Twitch streaming the focus. So I learned OBS and what to do and what not to do, how to proceed, and then I went live, and I think that was mid September 2020.
Mhm.
Uh, Felt as though I'd prepped everything as possibly as I could,
Which I gotta
and,
say, that's one of the things I'm most excited about is as I go through these interviews and talking to people is just seeing like who like did a lot of research, who maybe just like went for it. And it is the least surprising thing to me, as well as anyone who knows you, especially like going through the process of getting the conflict set up and everything with you, the Discord. It is not surprising to me at all that you put in so much research. Like, yeah, I put in months and I watched videos and I read articles. I'm like, yes, I should have seen that coming.
I'll take that as a compliment. I do feel that compared to because everyone at least probably watches a video or learns how to use OBS. But I'd say on the average of all Twitch streamers, I probably spent more time prepping than most. I'm probably up there with that. And I think everyone does a little bit of prep or research. But there's certainly plenty of people out there who just go for it.
See what happens, right?
Which is perfectly
yeah, there's no like
acceptable.
one way isn't better than another necessarily. It's about what works for you.
Exactly. So yeah, and then the rest is history, I guess. I think the first couple of weeks I wasn't really streaming to anybody. And then gradually I kind of, people trickled in and found me and I found them, and yeah, here we are.
And it was
18 months later. Almost 2 years later, I guess. It was going on. It's closer to 2. Yeah.
How do you feel about, I mean, just like expectations versus like the reality of it? Did you didn't have any viewers for a while, which is pretty standard, but as it progressed and as it like turned into months, did you feel like, okay, this is about what I expected, especially having done so much research? Or was there anything about it that surprised you? Or you just thought, oh, like I didn't really see this coming up, or I didn't see this going this way? Not necessarily like anything bad, but just how did those compare?
No.
Was it pretty much?
Do you mean a technical sense, or do you mean in like a success sense in terms of?
I guess
viewership?
both, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Technically, I think I kind of covered all bases.
I was gonna say, it sounds like you're pretty prepared for any tech things. Yeah.
I can't think of anything that really came up that threw me for a loop in that regard. But yeah, no, in terms of and this sounds weird, doesn't it? Because on some level, because you're a streamer as well, Steph, obviously, and I would imagine most people here in chat are, are streamers. They're all our friends, but they are streamers themselves. Some of them will stream very regularly, like we try and do. I know we've both had a little break recently for various reasons.
Life, yeah.
Life is gonna life, isn't it? And maybe there's some streamers here who aren't scheduled as much. They'll do odd stream here or there. There may be a few people here who've never streamed at all who have thought about it. I'm sure every single Twitch viewer, even if like someone was like a dedicated viewer, it must have crossed their mind before. Like, oh, I wonder if I could do this. I wonder how that would go. I'm sure there's a proportion of them that are just like, yeah, I thought that now. I'll just carry on doing it.
Yeah, carry on.
It's fine. Yes, Sween, we're still waiting. Sorry, I'm chatting. Yeah, you've got plenty of followers, Sween. So it's like, you get your affiliation, Trevor. So I guess we define success. How do we define success? I guess there's two levels to it, Stefan. Give me your opinion on this. I've made no secret myself that I would like to do this as a living, as I'm sure most of us would, even if maybe you were making less money than like your day job. It would, you'd be happier. So it'd be, it wouldn't be a problem. But you can, as we know, you can do all the right things, and there's like no guarantees. So you have to kind of accept that. So I think that kind of we put, although that is my definition of success in the long term, I think in the short term, and the more you know, I guess a lot of streamers are not doing it to make a living. It's just like a hobby. It's a fun community
Mhm.
social thing. But I think we would all say success is more easily defined as kind of like your viewership,
Mm.
not necessarily overall followers, but more like who's turning up when you go live, and how many people are there.
Mhm.
So from my own journey, yes, you're right, Steph. When you first start your stream and you're like looking down at your chat and you're like, oh, there's nobody here. Okay, I'll keep playing the game and keep talking about it. There's still nobody here. And you know, I had several streams like that. You know,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
played
yeah.
I played all of Super Metroid and Link to the Past to nobody.
Mhm.
And people have said, "Oh, you're going to play those?" I'm like, "No, I've already played those games. Maybe I'll pull them out again." But you weren't
You
here.
missed
What can I
it,
do
yeah.
about that?
Should have been there.
Well, I don't know about you, Iznib. Maybe you should have. But and then yeah, then it kind of went gradual. I guess I wasn't. So this first couple of weeks, maybe I was like kind of anxious and a little bit bummed out. I
Mhm.
was like, "Oh, not a single person is finding me." And then I was very gratified when a few people did. So now I was probably like rocking 4 or 5 viewers or something on average.
Mhm.
Um, and then a few things came to pass where, like you said, you found me. Uh, Metapod came in with a raid one time when we were playing Final Fantasy 2, and he kind of hung around quite a lot in the early days. Um, and then I think the main one was the Legion Cage kind
Mm.
of raided me when we were playing Final Fantasy 4.
Mhm.
And then I met probably most of the people I know now, um, or know people through those people.
Yeah.
Uh, that's kind of like what I think of the main core of the community I would consider that we are part of. I mean, Twitch is like a giant spider web, isn't
That's
it?
because
Where
I was
everyone
just thinking
connects.
it really is like a web, and this person, found this
Yeah,
person, found this person.
yeah.
It just
It's just
kind of,
how close you are
yeah,
to people. Yeah.
far removed. Exactly.
It's a small place and everybody knows everybody, but it's like how many people removed are you from
Yeah,
this?
exactly.
Um,
Like we're all
right.
just some kind of weird family, weird cousins, or second
It
cousins, or third
is. It
cousins.
is. And you got yeah, and Jeff Bezos is in the middle. He's this
Yeah, right.
spider, and it's like, just give me
The
half
one
the
scheming,
episode.
like we said. Yeah.
Uh, um, but yeah, I that for whatever reason, Legion Cage and his like the people associated with him seem to be very excited about me. They're like, "Oh, this guy," and to me and myself, I was a bit bemused.
Mhm.
I'm like, "Oh, things are kicking off." And I would say over kind of that December and going into January with the winter of our discontent, everyone's like super hyped. So I saw what I would regard as success, like seeming relatively skyrocket, and I
Mhm.
got like super hype about this. I was like, "Oh my god, have I made it?
Is
Is
this
this
making
it? Is it
it?
only going up from here?" And the answer to that is no. I hadn't made it, and it wasn't because because I've got people who I just met, but already I thought of them as cool, and it was the fact that most of them were also Twitch streamers,
Mhm.
and I guess like early at the end of early at the beginning of last year, it was we were all new to the platform,
Mhm.
and we were all new to streaming, and we were all kind of trying to find our way through the whole maze of what it is, and then people were getting disillusioned with certain things, and
Mhm.
there are people who are like, "You have to do this," or "You don't have to. You shouldn't do that," and nobody really seemed to have any definitive answers because well, nobody did because we were all in the middle of it together.
Yeah. Mhm.
But there's I don't know. So I guess that success I had, particularly financially, obviously people wanted. It was more a case of we're here to support you. Here you
Mhm.
go, have this. Whereas my brain might have interpreted it as, oh, these people are my viewers,
Mhm.
and this is going to be like a regularly occurring thing.
Mhm.
And it's like, no. Not to mention, real life moves on, doesn't it, Steph? It's like what's happening last month isn't what's happening now, isn't what's going to be happening next month.
It's yeah, a lot of factors that are just hard to predict or account for.
Indeed. So, so that so that's been a thing, and that's been up and down over like the past year and a half for me, you know. Um, but one thing I am extremely grateful for is people like yourself, and everyone else in the community who you know, does make a point of coming to my stream, um, and supporting me in whatever way they can.
Mhm.
Even if they're not necessarily invested in what I'm doing on the stream, there's that sense that individuals out there are invested in me, and that feeling is incomparable. I don't know if I would have guessed you probably feel the same, Steph,
Oh,
considering
absolutely.
the turnout you had at the beginning of the stream.
Mhm. Well, it's one of those things that I hope it never stops just
Mm,
blowing my mind. Like you said, that people will show up regardless of what you're playing. And I mean, it's at that point for, I mean, everyone here pretty much, it's beyond, oh yeah, these are my followers, these are my viewers. It's like, no, these are my friends and they show up for me. And then just that support alone, it's a different kind of support from what I think a lot of people might, like you said, be out for or use to define success. But I think that's the most meaningful support, especially as far as long term.
yeah,
It's crazy. It's bizarre and it's so humbling every single time.
yeah, absolutely. Agreed. I think you just got to kind of. I think the way to navigate it, Steph. I don't know if you would. Oh, you probably agree with this, but I shouldn't put words in your mouth. Because everyone's chasing that success, however you define it. So people kind of adjust their behavior or what they're doing or what they're saying. People second guess themselves a lot. Would change their opinion or attitude
Mhm.
on a dime. I think it's better. The best thing to do is just be yourself.
Mhm.
Just be true to yourself. Keep doing whatever you think is the right thing to do.
Mhm.
Um, and then whatever comes of that, it is what it is. Even if you look back on that and you go, "Well, I didn't achieve the success that I was
Mhm.
aiming for," at least you did what you felt was the right thing.
Yeah.
It'd be like unrealistic, but I know you. I know you've been playing a bit of Fortnite recently because you're enjoying it.
Oh
But
man.
I've never played Fortnite, but to me it doesn't seem like I could sit down and play Fortnite if no other video games ever existed. Uh, but they do, so I don't really have too much interest in it. But if I made the decision that I'm gonna try and be a Fortnite streamer because I believe that may bring me more success,
Mhm.
um, however true or misguided that may be, I think that would be the wrong thing to do.
Mhm.
Um, you know, I mean, maybe you wouldn't be so upset if you tried that and then you like blew up
Mhm.
and you
Yeah.
ended up like, yeah, as one of the top streamers, you might be like, oh, this is not what I want to do, but that's fine. Then you're back to that
Mhm.
9 to 5, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. You
Go,
put
oh,
yourself
better go to work.
in this box where it becomes a drag and you don't want to do, or I mean, I would assume you don't want to do that. Maybe someone does. Maybe they need someone to tell them
Yeah,
who they are, what they enjoy. But I feel like
yeah,
that's like you said, like that's the best, I mean, advice I think that can be given to people who are just getting into it is, you know, don't force yourself to finish a game if you're not enjoying it. Don't change who you are. Don't do things you don't enjoy. Because you think it might get you viewers. Because, and I know we've talked
mhm,
about this before, but people pick up on if you're not enjoying yourself. But then
yeah,
also, you know, that's not sustainable. Are you having fun? And I just feel like at the end of the day, if I have no one in chat, at least I still played a game that I enjoyed and would have played whether I was streaming or not. And to me, that's a win. That's not a waste of time. But if I was forcing
yeah,
myself to play a game I hated, just dreaded playing, and there's no one in chat, I would feel much more miserable when I click end stream. I'm like, well, that just was the worst because I hate this game and I'm forcing myself to play it. So it really, really isn't worth it.
I would imagine a good 95% plus of Twitch streamers, regard of all levels, are doing that, following that advice and doing what they want. But there's bound to be a few people out there who are forcing themselves to do something for the wrong reasons.
And it's not even maybe not even necessarily a game necessarily, but the way that they act or just the way that like you said, their opinions and thoughts on things, just kind of not. I don't want to say people are being disingenuous or not being authentic, but I mean that's really kind of on some level.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. If we take a step back from that and just look at the bigger picture, we're all here. None of us know what we're doing. We're all making up as we go along. I kind of I take that kind of stance. If I see someone like say I'll do something disingenuous, like I'm trying to think of any little examples. Like I turn ads off on my stream that are timed. Now I've seen people who turn those on because they feel well, if I get a regular ad coming up, then that will stop the pre-roll ad for anybody new coming in. And it's like, yes, that's true, but that's kind of taken the attitude of I'm going to sacrifice my current viewers fractionally to fractionally assist potential new viewers, which I don't think is the right thing to do. I think you should focus on who is there currently, who cares about you, do the best you can for them. And if you miss out on getting one new random viewer because they clicked on your stream and got a pre-roll ad and then they went away, they didn't hang around, well, that is what it is, isn't it? I've also seen people, like I saw a streamer say, oh, well, when questioned about that, they said, well, if you don't want to see ads, you should just sub to me. And it's like, okay, now you're asking for subs, which I know on some level we're all asking for subs.
Yeah.
or something. But to just say it that bluntly, like, oh, I got an ad. It's, well, if you sub to me, you wouldn't get, it's like, So when I see behavior like that, that does kind of irk me a little bit. And I'll kind of make an unconscious mental note to maybe stay away from that person. But on the higher level, when I take a step back and I'm like, okay, we should forgive that person because they don't know what they're doing. Like the rest of us, they're just trying to do the best they can. And if they do end up screwing over anybody, that'll be a learning experience for that person, and then they'll, we're all in this big mess trying to make it up as we go along and do the best we can. So, that's. I think it's good to have a little bit of forgiveness.
Yeah.
I think
Absolutely.
The amount of people on Twitch who are actually malicious, who are real people and not bots, who are actually malicious and
Not
actually
bots,
don't care, and it's not many people. Even if someone seems a bit brash or egotistical, I'm sure some people have seen me and they've gone, "Who's this guy?
Exactly.
He's full of himself."
You're not going to be for everyone. Exactly.
Exactly. He's very confident. That means he must have an ego. That means he must be full of himself. That means he's scum. And you're like, hang on a minute. You've taken a few steps there. You've not even taken the time to get to know me. You're making assumptions based on my behaviour, without hashing out with me, and things like that. But yeah, sorry, I was going off on a rant there.
That's okay. This is your show. I'm just learning all about you.
It's your show, Steph, and I'm honoured to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy you're here. But I mean, so we step back, and I know that, like you said, long term overall, you're pretty open and honest about the fact that, like this is your full time thing. You do want to make money from this. That's the kind of goal for you. But if we're looking, say, 6 months from now or a year from now, do you have like an idea of like what you would like your channel to look like, what goals you have for yourself, or do you just kind of wing it, not really think that far ahead?
Yeah. Yes, I'll just wing it, basically. I mean,
And not even as far
I
as
guess
numbers necessarily, but as they're just
no.
like as far as what the Iznib show looks like now, which you've just done a lot of amazing work on it. But do you feel
Slick Mick,
like,
actually.
shout out to Slick Mick, fantastic. Um,
Uh,
but do you feel like there's
no, I
still a
don't.
lot you want to change, or are you pretty
I
happy with how it's
I'm
going?
I'm pretty happy as long that's the thing. As long as my viewers are happy, but I
Mm,
guess I do. I guess we're in a similar boat, Steph. There's a lot of we spoke earlier about the streamers who are streaming to nobody and they're having a tough time of it. And then we seem to have got to the next tier, Steph, where you've got like 20-ish, maybe up to 30 viewers sometimes. Uh, and I've seen lots of streamers like you and me who are in that boat.
mm-hmm,
So it seems, it seems to be to push beyond that to the next
mm-hmm,
stage, whatever that may be. That seems to me even tougher, than to get up to this point.
mm-hmm.
I say tougher, like we have some direct control over it.
Yeah.
Generally, we don't. I don't know. Maybe
Only
we
I,
do. I don't
I
know. Who
don't.
knows?
Maybe on some level, I think there's some level of control, but so much of it at the same time is out of your hands. And it's so
Yeah.
weird. I feel like, and I mean, you know this from all the research you've done. You can look into all the algorithms and the best times to do this and this and this. But so much of it, I feel like, just is kind of chance and luck, and that
Mm.
raid that kind of changes things. And
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it sounds, and I hope if there's anybody here who does consider themselves one of my viewers as well as Steph's, or maybe you just come for a gander because you know me. I don't know, but well, you should know Steph as well. Obviously, she's wonderful. Um, if I say my average viewership is about 20, and I would say a year from now, like my average viewership to double and be about 40, which is true.
Mhm.
I feel on some level. Will you answer this question? I know you're going to say because you're too nice, but on some level, am I not saying that my 20 viewers I've currently got now are not enough? Oh, thanks for being here, guys. Shame there's only 20 of you. You're not enough. Do you know what I mean? I feel like, excuse the language, but I feel like a dick. Do you know what I mean? For thinking that.
I don't think
So
that there's
I
anything
don't know
wrong
how
with thinking
to.
that, though. I mean, I don't, as one of your viewers, I don't feel any less appreciated for you
Hmm,
saying, okay, like I'd like to reach like 40, 50, etc. Because I know, like I said, like what your end goal is. And I don't
hmm,
feel like, oh, he's using me or I'm just a pawn. He doesn't value. Like you do a great job of making your viewers, and part of the reason I was so drawn to you in the first place, the people that are there, you make them feel so seen and valued. My favorite part of your streams is always the just chatting segments. No offense to your gameplay, but like you said, like
no,
I was
it's
there
my
throughout
favourite.
your Final Fantasy. I can't. I'm not interested in Final Fantasy in the slightest, as we know. Not for lack of trying. But it's because you do make your followers and your viewers feel so important. And I never go to one of your streams, and I think that most people here who know you would agree and feel like, oh, like he doesn't care that I'm here, or he's not acknowledging me, he's ignoring me. You do that so well that hearing you say, yeah, like I'd like to reach this number, like that doesn't. I don't think that that's arrogant. I don't feel like that's a negative thing to say at all. I think that makes sense, and that's realistic considering your goals.
Thank you, Steph. I appreciate that. I do. I do have a problem. There's some advantages for the way my brain works in, like, say, with the prep time and like analyzing things. Or sometimes you can over-analyze things, and I can sometimes think the worse of myself.
Mm,
I'm like, well, if I want this, then that surely that must mean
mhm.
that you've got two options. It's like, are you a good guy or are you a bad
You
guy? And I'm
right?
like,
Like
well,
it's black and
well,
white.
yeah. Well, you're not as good as you could be. That means
Uh-huh.
you must be a bad guy. And I'm like, I'm stressing in my own brain. You know, but yeah, in terms of the future, so I kind of did have one thing that's kind of thrown me for a little bit of a loop recently, Steph. So I took my break and I tried to get my room
Mhm,
soundproofed or sound dampened, which it definitely has to a degree,
mhm,
but it's not done it to enough that uh, I can stream later in the day, which was my initial plan. So I still feel that on some level I'm not as visible on the platform as visible as you can be
mhm,
in a group of tens, hundreds of thousands of people, uh, as I could be. you know, I feel like on some level I'm missing potential viewers that just don't know I exist because of the time that they want to be on Twitch. I ain't there. And unfortunately, as it stands at the minute, there's not too much I can do about that. So that's kind of uh, frustrating me a little bit, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Hmm.
Uh, I've just got to get on with it. So I've
Yeah.
been doing earlier streams, which have been pretty quiet. Some people are stopping by in the morning. God bless you. But I don't know. I feel like on that time zone, maybe there's a reason that the platform is quieter. It
Hmm.
seems, yes, you do get plenty of Australian streamers and viewers. There's plenty of European streamers and viewers, but it does seem like the vast majority of Twitch users are, American or on that time zone. Um, that does frustrate me a little bit, but it's no point in stressing about it.
Hmm.
Um, I suppose. I've got plenty of specific games I want to cover, and I suppose at the rate we generally play them, Steph, it's still going to be a little while before I get to the point. Oh, I've run out of things, guys. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
Um, I do also definitely understand that not all, but the people who are maybe there more for me and the community, and are kind of somewhat less interested in what specific game we're playing, do like yourself, do enjoy that just chatting section.
Hmm.
Uh, so I feel like in some way I would like to double down on that in the future.
Hmm.
I don't know that I could just do like an 8-hour stream of just chatting because obviously you've probably seen it, Steph. I can run my mouth as I'm doing it right now, folks. I'm doing it right now. Run
I
my
love
mouth
it
for like an
though.
hour,
That's
2
what you're here
hours.
for.
But eventually I'll run out of things to say in a given day, and so I will.
You run out of
No, I
words.
can't do an 8-hour just chatting stream, and I think even my most ardent supporters would eventually get bored of that. But having something structured like this, Steph,
Mhm.
we've got like a goal of the conversation
Mhm.
or discussion topics that could help. But there's various other things that I kind of ponder or would like to get involved in. Um, like one thing just off the bat. Uh, Getting involved in a running, long-term Dungeons& and Dragons group,
Mhm.
that would be very, very appealing to me on a personal
Ooh.
level. And, I know that 'cause it's somewhat interesting, there's somewhat of an interest of that on Twitch, it being streamed.
Mhm.
Um,
Absolutely.
but the practicalities of that with the time and the commitment, um, and finding the right people, I don't know if I can ever make that actually come to pass. So it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, Mr. Wrong, I see you. Uh, yeah, there you go, right person there, but trying to sort out times with
Mhm.
people, and I've been out of the loop of that for quite a while, so I don't. Just stuff like that, Steph, and there's a bunch of other things I've got
Mhm.
put to the side where I love the idea of it, but I don't know how I can practically make it come to pass. So for now, I do just kind of wing it and just take each stream by stream, week by week, and we'll see where we end up. So I hope that answers your question.
It does. Thank you. I'm just going to throw it out there to the chat right now before we continue. If you guys have any questions for Iz before we wrap up, feel free to go ahead and type those in chat. And I will be sure to pass those through to you, or you'll see them as they come up.
Yeah,
But just for
I'll wait.
anyone who maybe doesn't know you, or they just haven't been able to like really tune into your channel in a while, just tell us a little bit about what you have going on right now. What are you streaming? What days and times are you live?
Yeah, certainly. Thank you, Steph. So in terms of schedule, I stream try to, barring tech issues. Don't worry about that. I do. I do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. Um, I go from ideally 1 p.m.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's a little bit later, depending on real life situations, until 9 p.m. my time, which is the calculations. That's early if you're in the Americas. It is 8 a.m. until uh, 4 p.m. if you're on Eastern time. Or so yeah. Some people I've got viewers who like that because maybe because of their job, their
Mhm.
9 to 5 job, they can actually pay attention to Twitch. So that kind of
Yeah.
works in that regard.
The perfect
So
distraction. The best
that's when I
distraction.
should, yeah, that's when I should be live. So keep an eye out, folks. I recently came back off a little break. I was a little bit burnt out. So if anyone who doesn't know, over the past year and a half, we played the entirety of the mainline Final Fantasy series, which was a hell of a lot of fun. But I wanted to move on to different things. So since I've come back, I've been probably back about 2 weeks now.
Hmm.
We've played and completed Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Link's Awakening on the Game Boy Color, and we've recently just started the other day Rayman Legends. So my thought on that, Steph, is just to play like some contrast this gigantic series of very long games.
Yeah.
Play some, like, maybe some shorter games just for my own gratification, just to bulk out my completion list on
Yeah.
Twitch, I guess. Rather than just dive into some other very
long
game.
series. Yeah.
There are games like that coming up, and I will say this: not that anyone should look at this, or you need to, but just from, as Steph was saying, for my long-term goals, trying to, make money off of this. Whether regardless of how people feel about that, I've got no shame in saying that. I have recently set up a Patreon as well. One of the hooks of that is to have more say in what goes on the channel specifically. I can give a shout out to Scotty, EBC 2021. He is our current producer
The best.
of the Iznib show. And with the idea is that the producers, if anyone wants to make that commitment to me, I will commit to them that they will directly get to have a say on what we do on the channel. So I asked Scotty, and Scotty said, I don't really care. I'm just here to support you. Do whatever you want.
What a
So
guy.
I was like, okay, well, so thank you for the support, Scotty. But also, that doesn't help necessarily with
Here
the
you're
plan
looking like,
of,
oh, great, I'll get some, someone else's input.
yeah. Like, what do you want to do, sir? You have the reins. He's like, I do it. So if anyone were to go for that in the future, they could have a direct saying that. So at the minute, because it's just Scotty, and I'm throwing a vote out. So the other day when we finished Link's, well, no, it was actually when we finished Castlevania. I put, anytime we finish a game now, I'm just doing a vote, and whoever's there, I will chuck out 4 or 5 choices of the potential next game. They will vote, and we'll do whatever the chat wants to do. So that's what we're doing for the minute, Steph. And like I say, there's a few more shorter games, and once we've kind of like ran that list down a little bit, I guess we'll open up some longer ones. May go back to doing 2 different games on the go at the same time if we do start longer games, just to keep it, so we're not just stuck on one game for a whole month. We can do 2 different games over 2 months, or whatever.
Yeah.
He's just here for the jibber jabber. Well, you found the right person, haven't you? So
did you ever have anyone like that found you that just kind of assumed you were exclusively like a Final Fantasy streamer? Did that ever happen?
No, I don't think so. I'm sure there's been of the people who've hung around for a short time and dropped a follow. They've found the channel because of whatever Final Fantasy we have to be playing.
There for the series, and then it's done, they're done. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they're like, maybe not questioned it, but they're like, oh, well, you've finished the Final Fantasy that I did like, or you finished Final Fantasy in general. So then they've kind of maybe stepped away. But I've never had anyone question me on it. Like, I don't think. Which is
at least not out loud.
Which is good. Yeah, not out loud at least.
All right, so I did see Manly Banana did ask, which I'm glad because I wanted to bring this up. What's the origin story for your name Iznib? Obviously, your legal name is not Iznib. It's safe to assume. But how did Iznib come to be?
It is now, Steph. I changed it the other day. No, I'm joking. I didn't do that. There is kind of a story. It's not a very exciting story. But and I have been asked this before. So everyone will have to forgive me, to preserve the mystique I'll just say it was a gift from the gods. Uh,
That's not clear at all.
no, no, intentionally. Like you got a few secrets, Steph. So nobody, people in real life know why that is my my Twitch handle, my channel name, but nobody in our community or on the Twitch ecosystem knows the origins of the name. And just for the sake of trying to be, I feel that if I tell people, everyone's go, "Oh, is that it? Oh, that's kind of boring." Whereas, as it stands now, Steph, it's weird and unique, isn't it? Everyone's like, "Is Iznib? That's very simple and unique, and also sounds kind of weird." And I've had people like mispronounce it and all sorts of things. But yeah, Manly Banana, thank you very much for the question, sir. I hope that answer satisfies, and I apologise if it doesn't. You're not the first person who've asked, so I do.
So you
Apologise.
say, people who know you in real life know. If one of us were to say, just take our boat across the pond and knock on your door and ask, would we get an answer?
I'll be like, "Oh my God, Steph!" And she's like, "I can't stay. I'm just here to find out your origin story." Well, I can say this, if this helps, Manly Banana or anybody else. Anybody who doesn't know, a few people do know, I can tell you my real life name. Or I guess that I've been told that destroys the mystique. So people like, Steph, obviously we know your real life name. And most people here I probably know, yeah, like Scotty, obviously knows that name. My real life name is Richard. I guess my family usually call me Rich. That was more because when I was younger, I was like, Richard isn't a cool name. That's a nerd name. Screw that. I insist you call me Rich. As I've got older, I will introduce myself as Richard, at jobs and stuff, and then let them work it out.
Mhm.
But because of that was set there, my family is just so used to just calling me Rich. That is the thing. But it's weird because I spend all my time on Twitch. Anybody who doesn't know me, my personal life, I don't really go out much. Despite appearances, I'm very much an introvert. And in
Mhm.
fact, when the pandemic came around, the lockdowns came around, I would suspect 90% of people were like, "Oh my God, I've got to stay indoors." I was like, "Oh, wow. Now I don't need an excuse."
Same, my dream come true. Nobody's bothering me.
Exactly.
I don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah, like, oh, I'm really upset people are getting ill and dying, but also, yeah, bring it on.
Not the death, the isolation. Bring that on.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I hope that somewhat answered that question, Manly Banana, to some satisfaction.
And then finally, I know the
Uh,
hippie asked, and I mean, we all want to know is just how and why are you so awesome?
did the hippie actually ask that?
Yes.
Oh my God, Jarrett, he's such a sweetheart. Bless you, sir. I don't know. Do you guys really think I'm awesome? I don't know.
Yes, we do.
How do you quantify? Well, thank you, Steph, thank you. How do you quantify that? I don't know. I do. I have a lot. Again, regardless of outward appearances, I do have a lot of self doubt.
Mhm.
I do wonder, should I be doing this? Am I? Not for you guys. I'm honoured to know all of you. And even if I say stop streaming tomorrow, never to return, I would still be around. I'd still be talking to people on Discord. I
Mhm.
know you guys now, and I'm always going to know you, unless you decide you don't want to know me. Then I won't. You know what I mean? But I'm not going anywhere. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You guys are a part of my uh my life now, even if I don't meet you in real life.
Mhm.
That's not going to change. But I don't know. I don't think of myself as awesome, but I'm honoured that you guys do. Um, I don't know. I'd like we. This applies to everybody though. What I'm about to say, I feel like I've been through a lot.
Mhm.
Not. I've got close friends who have been through like quite awful things in their life, quite dark things. Which maybe that stuff hasn't happened to me, but overall, since I was a child, I've had to deal with this and I've had to deal with that, and feel like I've never, adversity builds character. I feel so. If
Absolutely.
I seem like a weird character that's
Mhm.
quite full of himself, has too much to say, and you know, is quite confident, it's because I have been through a bunch of stuff. I've been weird places that other people haven't
Mhm.
been. I've been in weird situations that other people haven't been in. I've done weird things that other people haven't done. Um, uh, Again, outside the bounds of this conversation, but you guys be sure to ask me about this later on. Um, and looking back, Steph, maybe to a point where I have had a bit of arrogance in the past. I have thought I'm better than other people, but as I've got older, because I'm very, I'm older than you, Steph, and probably a lot older than a lot of people in chat. I know there's a few people who are of a similar age to me. Age does temper you. Age does give you a little bit of more
Mhm.
insight and wisdom. Um, so I don't know. I guess it's a compound of stuff that I've managed to survive to this point, and it's made me into the unique weirdo that I am. And thankfully, you guys like me. So thank you. I'm honoured.
Of course, we love the unique weirdo that you are. We wouldn't want
Thank you,
you
Steph. Thank
any
you. I
other
appreciate it.
way. Thank you so, so much again for being part of this.
Oh, thank you for having me. Sorry, I've
Very
run over a little bit, but I guess
Oh,
we
I
can
mean, we
finish.
started about 20 minutes past 9, so
Okay.
we were, we're great.
It's Steph that's run us over, not me.
It was definitely my fault. My fault we were late. Blame me. But thank you so much for being part of this, and just for being my friend and being part of this
Oh, Steph,
community.
you're one of my best friends, and I would do anything for you, practically speaking. So thank you for you done me much honour by asking me to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you.